Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Caitanya Caritāmrta overview class. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी नितिनामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणी। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome everyone. We are discussing from Caitanya Caritāmrta Ādī-Līlā. We are on chapter 8 now. So last time we completed seventh chapter, which is entitled Lord Chaitanya and Five Features. And in that we heard how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he delivered everyone. Mayavadi, Karmnishta, Putarkik, Gan, Nindaka, Pashandi, Paduya, Adham, all these people Mahaprabhu delivered by taking sannyas. And then he went to Varanasi, defeated all the Mayavadi sannyasis headed by Prakashananda Saraswati. And he transformed all of them into devotional service. And he explained the Vedanta philosophy in a personal way. So that some Mahaprabhu he performed his pastimes. So now today we'll be beginning the 8th chapter. The author receives the orders of Krishna and Guru. So after explaining in detail all the Mangalacharan verses, the 14 verses of the first chapter, Ādī-Līlā, first chapter, 14 verses, they are Mangalacharan. So Kaviraj Goswami explained those 14 verses in 7 chapters. And now after explaining all these things in detail, now he's writing in the 8th chapter now, how he got inspiration to write Caitanya Caritāmrta. So this is a very, very important chapter, because this chapter describes the importance of blessings, the power of blessings. As we know, Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripa tamaham vande Shri Guru Deenatarinam. By the power of blessings of the Lord and the Guru, even a deaf person can speak eloquent poetry. A lame can cross mountains. Actually, this is what is happening here in this chapter. Kaviraj Goswami will explain how he is writing this book. In Madhya Leela, he describes this situation. Ami vriddha jaratur likhite ka paikar mane kichu smarane na hoye. ना देखिए नयने ना सुनिए श्रवणे तबु लिखी ए बड़ा विस्मय. So it describes what is his situation. I am old, I cannot see anything properly, I cannot hear properly. When I am writing, my hands are trembling, still I am writing. So this chapter describes the power of blessings. By the blessings of the Guru and Krishna, even unimaginable things are possible. Because Kaviraj Goswami is writing this Caitanya Caritāmrta at the age of 94. So we'll discuss in this chapter the details. So Kaviraj Goswami begins this chapter, like every chapter, by offering obeisances to Lord Chaitanya. Vande Chaitanya Devam Tam Bhagavantam Tadichaya Prasavam nartyate chitram lekharange jadopyayam. He says, I offer my obeisances, my respects unto the Supreme Lord, Vande Chaitanya Devam, Bhagavantam Ichchaya, by whose desire I am writing. I have become a dog, he says. I have become a dancing dog. Nartyate Chitram. It is so very wonderful and astonishing that I am suddenly writing a book, Chaitanya Charitamrita, although Jadovapi, although I am a fool. I am a fool. Number one, Kaviraj Goswami describes in great detail his humility. Again and again he tells, oh, I am not qualified, I am lower than Jagai, Madhai, I have no qualities. So the humility of the author is, seen throughout this book. And that's why this book is the PhD study, because the mature devotee is naturally humble. Trinadapi Sunichena. And Kaviraj Goswami is showing by his personal character, and he has made it immortal. What is the attitude of a devotee? By writing in this book, it has become immortal. What should be the attitude? If anybody has any doubts, please read Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Kaviraj Goswami, who is the author of PhD literature, he is presenting himself in such a insignificant way. Jadovapi, I am a dog, I am a fool. I am writing, it is so very wonderful. Nartyate Chitram. It is wonderful. It is astonishing that I am writing. Who am I? I am such an insignificant fool. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Jaya Jaya Prem. Sorry, it says Jaya Jaya Shri Krishna Chandra Gaur Jaya Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Gaura Chandra Jaya Jaya Paramananda Jaya Nityananda. He offers his obeisances to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, to Advaita Acharya, to Gadadhar Pandit, Jaya 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 Dvaita Acharya Kripamay, Jaya Jaya Gadadhar Pandit Mahashay. And then after offering obeisances, he offers obeisances to Srivas Thakur. So actually he's offering obeisances to all the Panchatattva. So he himself wrote in the last chapter, if somebody is offering obeisances to Radha Krishna and not offering obeisances to Panchatattva, he will not get any benefit. Let me offer my obeisances unto Srivas and all the devotees. I offer my respects unto them. I fall down at their feet. Prabhupada writes, we must strictly follow the principle of offering respects to Panchatattva. We should never ever forget it. If we are not offering respects and obeisances to Panchatattva, we can never get entry into the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. It is impossible. So that's why Mahaprabhu, Kaviraj Goswami is writing here. He says, by the mercy of Panchatattva, by remembering the lotus feet of Panchatattva, a dumb man like me, I am writing such a eloquent poetry. I have become a poet. Actually, it is not that Kaviraj Goswami is writing his first book. He is called as Kaviraj. The name itself indicates that he is a well-known Kavi. Still, out of his humility, he is telling, I have become a poet by mercy of Panchatattva. Mooka kavitva kare ya sabha smaran, pangu giri langhe ang dekhe taragan. By the mercy of Panchatattva, I have become a poet. By mercy of Panchatattva, a lame can cross mountains. Pangu giri langhe, andha dekhe taragan. And even a blind person can see the stars in the sky. That is the mood of a devotee. A devotee should never feel, never think that I am what I am on my own strength. No. Whatever we have, it is by the mercy of Guru and Acharyas and Krishna. Otherwise, who are we? As Krishna says, it is not just a way of thinking, it is a fact. Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, I am the strength in the man. Paurusham Rishu. I give all the abilities to all the men. So it is a fact. Prabhupada writes, in Vaishnava philosophy, there are three ways of perfection. Somebody can be a Nitya Siddha, is already a liberated soul, and he has come in this world just to show mercy to others. Somebody can be a Sadhana Siddha. By practicing the various limbs of bhakti, he can become liberated. Somebody can be Kripa Siddha. Just by achieving mercy of the Lord, one attains perfection. Or by the mercy of the devotees of the Lord, one attains perfection. Kaviraj Goswami here, he's stressing that just by the mercy of the Lord and the devotees and Panchatattva, I have attained such perfection. Kripa Siddha. He has become Kripa Siddha. So that is the mercy. What is the difference between grace and mercy? Once Prabhupada told, grace means you don't deserve it. And then somebody gives it. That is grace. So when we say His divine grace or His grace, that means we don't deserve that mercy. We are completely unqualified. Just like one time one devotee asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada, what was our qualification that we got this process of Krishna consciousness? Prabhupada said, you had no qualification. I made your qualification. That is grace. So the grace means you don't deserve it. Mercy means, okay, you have some qualification, so I am showing you some favor. That is mercy. But grace means you don't deserve it at all. So Kaviraj Goswami says, I didn't deserve, but it is the mercy of the Lord. That is the mood of every devotee. I didn't deserve to come to Krishna consciousness. I was so fallen. That's what Rup Sanatan Goswami are saying. Nicha jati, nicha sangi kori nicha kaj. Tomar agrete Prabhu kohite vasilaj. Oh, we are fallen, associating with fallen and malechas, yavanas. We are ashamed just to stand in front of you. Mattulyo nasti papatma aparadhi chakaschana pariharye pilajjame krimbruve purushottama. There is nobody as fallen as us, nobody as shameless as us, nobody as sinful as us. We are ashamed just to stand in front of Him, in front of you, my Lord. They say Jagai Madhai are better. We are more fallen in Jagai Madhai. Because they never served malechas and yavanas. They were just doing some sinful activity, that's all. But just by taking your name, they were delivered. So Mahaprabhu, Kaviraj Goswami is presenting his humility here. Then after this, he tells, if, many times Kaviraj Goswami, somewhere he shows his humility, and some places he shows his strong convictions, and he becomes a very, very powerful acharya, very strong person, and he gives strong words. He says, anybody who does not believe Lord Chaitanya, who is he? If somebody thinks himself to be a very powerful scholar and he's not believing in Lord Chaitanya, he is just like that frog who is croaking and inviting death. Ei sab na mane ei pandit sakal tasamar vidya patha bhek kolahal. Very, very strongly he's saying, ei sab na mane, whatever I have described in this previous 7 chapters, if somebody does not believe it, ei sab na mane ei pandit sakal, what are they doing? All their learning, all their vidya is like that croaking of frog. When a frog croaks, he just invites snake, and snake comes and eats that frog. So all their mental speculation and intellectual gymnastic, it is all inviting them close to death. So therefore, all the so-called education vibrated by the people of the world, what are they doing? Just inviting death. That's what Bhagavatam tells. In the second canto, all the sages, they are telling to Suta Goswami, if somebody is not hearing the pastimes and the names of the Lord, their ears are like the holes where snakes live. And if they are not speaking about the Lord, they are not using their tongue to glorify the Lord. Their tongue is like unchaste wife, or their tongue is like the tongue of a frog. Vilebatoru kramavikramanye na shanvati karnapute narasya jihva satidar durikeva suta nachopagayatyurugaya gatha. Bile batoru. It is like ear holes are like the snake holes. Jihva asati. The tongue becomes an unchaste wife if the tongue is not used to glorify Krishna. Dar duri keva. It is like a tongue of a frog. Yei sab na mane eba kare Krishna bhakti. Krishna kripa nahi tare nahi tara gati. If somebody does not accept the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, what if they are worshipping Krishna? Again, very strong statement he is making here. Ei sab namane ba kare Krishna bhakti. What are they doing? Krishna kripa nahi tare. If somebody rejects Lord Chaitanya and worships Krishna, Krishna will not show mercy. They will not receive mercy of Lord Krishna. Krishna kripa nahi tare nahi tara gati. They will never be delivered. Very strong statement. We should have that faith. Whatever Kaviraj Goswami is writing, it is truth. It is not just a poetry which he is writing. It is a truth. It is the result of his lifetime of bhajan, lifetime of tapasya, which he has done in Navadvip and Vrindavan. Prabhupada writes, if one is seriously interested in Krishna consciousness activity, he must be ready to follow the rules and regulations. One can never think of disobeying the acharyas and still think he is advancing. Mahajano yena gata sapanta. We have to learn to follow. Otherwise, if somebody does not worship or respect Mahaprabhu and worship or respect the devotees, they can never be liberated. Chadiya Vaishnava Seva Nistar Paiche ke ba. Narottam Das Thakur has written, if somebody leaves the association of devotees and service to Vaishnavas, they can never be delivered. So Prabhupada is writing, he's quoting all these verses in the purport. Echai Gosayar Muitar Das Dasabar Padarenu Mora Panchagras. Srinivas Acharya has written. And Narottam Das Thakur has written this bhajan sahib. In this he is telling, I take dust of each and every devotee, and especially I take dust of the Goswami's lotus feet. I am surviving just by taking dust of the devotees and Goswamis. Now, Kaviraj Goswami is making a very, very strong, another very profound and very, very shocking statement. He says, all these people who don't accept Lord Chaitanya, but they worship Krishna, they are demons. Formerly, they were kings like Jarasandha. They were strictly following the Vedic scriptures, but he was strictly following the Vedic scriptures, but he didn't show respect to Krishna. Same way, if somebody disrespects Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and worships Krishna, he's like a demon. Prabhupada writes in this book, in these verses, the author stresses the importance of worshipping Panchatattva. If one becomes a devotee of Gaur Sundar or Krishna, Another important line. If somebody becomes a devotee of Gaur Sundar or Krishna, but he does not respect Panch Tattva, it is an offense. So we have to accept all the 5 tattvas, Panch Tattva, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita, Gadadhar, Srivas, Adi. Otherwise, you know what they are doing? They are just creating disturbance. Utpatayaiva kalpate. Shruti, Smriti, Puranadi, Pancharatra Vidim Bina, Ekantiki, Hare Bhakti, Utpatayaiva kalpate. So we should have that faith. Panch Tattva, Ek Vastu, Nahi Kichu Bhed. They are all the 5 Panch Tattva, they are one. There is no difference in them. Nahi Kichu Bhed. Nahi Kichu Bhed. They have just come to relish the rasa. Rasa aswadite kichu vividha vibhed. Krishna nahi mane tare daitya kari jani. Chaitanya na mani le taiche daitya kari mani. Just like if somebody does not accept Krishna, Jarasandha didn't accept Krishna, he was interested in Vedic worship. He was worshipping Vishnu actually through the Vedic rituals, but he was rejecting Krishna. Therefore, he was a demon. Krishna namanile tare daitya kori jani. Chaitanya namanile taiche daitya kori mani. Similarly, if somebody does not accept Lord Chaitanya, he is a demon. So Prabhupada writes, any man, if he is following Vedic scriptures, but if he is not accepting Krishna as a supreme, he is a demon. Similarly, if somebody is not accepting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Krishna, he is a demon also. That is the faith Kaviraj Goswami wants to instill in each and every devotee, Gaudiya, who is a Gaudiya. Because Gaudiya means we are representing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we are in line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we should have an unflinching faith that who is Lord Chaitanya? He is Krishna himself. So Prabhupada writes, both so-called devotion to Gaur Sundar without devotional service to Krishna. So if somebody, now very important statement Prabhupada is making here, if somebody is worshipping Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, not worshipping Krishna, or if somebody is worshipping Krishna and not worshipping Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, basically they have no devotion to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or no devotion to Krishna. They are both non-devotional activities. We have to accept both. They are both one. We cannot just accept Krishna and reject Gauranga Mahaprabhu, or accept Gauranga Mahaprabhu and reject Krishna. They are all one. There is no difference. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna nahi anya. Sachi Shutta hoilo sei. Brajendra Nandana Jai Sachi Shutta hoilo sei. Balarama hoilo nitai. There is no difference. So therefore, Prabhupada writes, if one wants to be successful on the path of Krishna consciousness, he must be thoroughly conscious of the personality of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as well as the personality of Krishna. We have no option. We, as followers of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, we should know thoroughly the pastimes of Lord Krishna and pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If we are just interested in Krishna and not knowing the details of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it is not devotion. And vice versa. If you are just worshipping Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and not interested in Krishna, it is not devotional. So all these chapters, all these profound philosophical concepts, they should make our faith very, very strong in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself has said, More na manile sabalokaha benash, ithi lage kripardra prabhu korila sanyas. That's why Mahaprabhu took sannyas. He was thinking, oh, these people, they are not accepting me. They are trying to chastise me, criticize me. Even some of them wanted to beat him. More na manile sab lok benash. If you don't accept, if they don't accept me, they'll be destroyed. So Mahaprabhu, who is so compassionate, ithi lage kripardra Prabhu korila sannyas. That's why he took sannyas. That's the purpose. That's why Mahaprabhu took sannyas. Prabhupada writes, this Krishna consciousness can be achieved only by the mercy of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One cannot be in complete Krishna consciousness unless he accepts Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his devotees. That's the only means of success. Otherwise, what is our qualification in this age of Kali, where we cannot even control our minds properly? In previous ages, people would not even think anything wrong. In Kali Yuga, and they would get the result and reaction if they just think something wrong. In Kali Yuga, we think all sorts of nonsense things. What is our hope? Mahaprabhu is our hope. He is not thinking ye qualified hai, ye nahi hai. आपनी करी आश्वादने शिखाइला भक्त गणे प्रेम चिंता मणि प्रभु धनी नाही जाने स्थान स्थान यारे तारे कैला दान महाप्रभु दाता शिरोमणि. So that is our hope. If we don't take shelter of Mahaprabhu and the devotees of Mahaprabhu, then there is no hope. That is the only means of success. Therefore, Mahaprabhu took sannyas. Why? सन्यासी बुद्धे मोरे कोरिबे नमस्कार तथापि खंडीबे दुख पाइबे निस्तार. Just see the mercy, just see the compassion of Mahaprabhu. Sannyasi buddhi, oh, they will think, oh, he is a sannyasi. At least we should offer obeisances to sannyasi. That's the culture which was there. You offer respects to sannyasi, whoever he may be. So Mahaprabhu thought, if I take sannyas, at least they will offer respects to me. And just by offering respects to me, tathapi khandibe dukh. Just by offering respects to me, they'll be free from sinful reactions. They'll free from sufferings. Paibe nistar. So Lord is so merciful. He's always thinking how to liberate conditioned souls. And this comes again and again in Bhagavatam, in Caitanya Caritāmrta. Krishna is always thinking how to protect and how to liberate his devotee from conditioned life. That's why he comes as Guru, comes as scriptures, comes as deities, comes himself, created this entire complex universe, so that we can understand that this place is not the right place and we can develop a desire to go to him. That's why he has come. Bhavesmin klishyamananam avidya kam karma bhi shravana smaranarhani karishyaniti kechana. People in the world, they think, oh, some people think Kunti Maharani is offering her prayers. Some people think, oh Lord, you appear to protect Devaki and Vasudeva, apare Vasudevasya devakyam yachitobhyagat. Some people say you appear to protect the pious kings like Yudhishthir. Some people say you appear to fulfill the words of Brahmaji, Bharavatarnayanya bhuvana ivodadau. But actually, you know why you appear, oh my Lord? Just to rejuvenate the principles of hearing, chanting, remembering you. So Lord keeps appearing in so many ways so that we can hear, we can chant his names. And he is ready to go through all the pains. So what is expected of us? We should try our best to remember him, whatever way possible. This is how we have to mold our life in such a way that we can remember Krishna always. That is Krishna consciousness. That is the art we have to learn. Krishna consciousness is an art. We have to learn the art of remembering Krishna always. It is not something, miracle which will happen automatically one day. We have to learn this art. We have to struggle to remember Krishna in midst of all the difficulties, in midst of our family, profession, relatives, so many responsibilities we have. We have to learn the art of remembering Krishna always. That's why Mahaprabhu took sannyas, so that at least they'll come and offer respects to me. Prabhupada writes, Lord Chaitanya, he preached this cult so that people in general, they can get benefited. It should be noted, Prabhupada writes, unless one worships Lord Chaitanya, it is useless to become a devotee of Krishna. Because in this age, who is actually following the principles? Who is actually worshipping Krishna properly? If you are worshipping Krishna and if you are not worshipping Lord Chaitanya, it is useless. So that is how. And it is also other way around. Unless one worships Krishna, it is also useless to become a devotee of Lord Sri Chaitanya. You have to do both. One cannot just take one and reject other. We cannot just take one and neglect other. Both Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they have to be worshipped equally. That's why Srila Prabhupada, he established Radha Krishna and Gaur Nitai both. Then Kaviraj Goswami, he speaks very, very famous verse. Ataeva punah kaho urdhva bahu bhaiya Caitanya Nityananda bhaja kutarka chhadiya. Therefore, I am just shouting with my arms raised. Just like you may have seen in the movies in the old times when the kings, they had to make an announcement. They would send their people and they would go in the middle of the streets and they would, with their arms raised, they would call everyone, Suno, Suno, Suno. That's what Kaviraj Goswami is doing here. Ateva punah kaho urdhva bahu bhaiya. I am saying again, lifting my arms. Please worship Nityananda. Chaitanya Nityananda bhaja kutarka chhadiya. Give up all your logic, all your false arguments and worship Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda. That's the only way. In fact, in the Mayapur, one of our devotees was saying that, in Mayapur in Panchatattva, so Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has his both hands up. So what he's doing is calling everyone, please come, come. Somebody may ask, where should we come? So Nityananda Prabhu, he has his one arm up and another arm down, pointing to the feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Similarly, Gadadhar has one arm up and one arm down, pointing to the feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yahan pe aana hai. Kahan aana hai? Please come to the lotus feet. And then Advaitacharya is folding hands. Advaitacharya is also saying, yes, you have to come here only. And Srivas is folding hands, please come. So that's what Kaviraj Goswami is doing here. He is calling everyone, please take shelter and worship Lord Chaitanya. And Kaviraj Goswami says, there are some logicians who say, unless one gains understanding through logic and argument, how can one decide who is a worshipable deity? They say we have to use our logic and argument, then we will understand who is the worshipable God. Just like when Prabhupada was sitting once with all the big sadhus and he was having a discussion. So Prabhupada asked, so according to you, who is God? So these big sadhus, they said, Swamiji, it is very difficult to tell. For that, we have to study all the scriptures and then use our logic and discuss. Then we can come to the understanding who is God. And there was a small child playing. Prabhupada said, come. He called that small child. He said, who is God? And he had a big jar full of gulab jamuns. So the child understood, if I give right answer, I'll get gulab jamun. He said, Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Prabhupada gave him gulab jamun. Child happily went away. Prabhupada said, just see, in our movement, even a child knows who is God. What is the use of your logic and all the understanding, all the learning? So Viraj Goswami is saying, there are some logicians who say you have to use your logic and arguments and then you can decide who is a worshipable deity. Then Kaviraj Goswami speaks a very powerful verse, very famous verse. If you want to use your logic, please use your logic and argument to understand the mercy of Lord Sri Caitanya. Then you will understand who is the supreme worshipable deity. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Daya Karaha Vichar, Vichar Korile Chitte Pabe Chamatkar. If you use your logic to understand the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, you will be astonished. You will be amazed. Prabhupada writes, logicians, they want to accept everything by logic and argument. But unfortunately, Prabhupada writes that when such logicians, they take to this path of understanding God without getting mercy of Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya, they will never come to the right understanding. If somebody wants to try on his own, I want to understand who is God on my own strength, not possible. They'll just keep on arguing and using their logic. They will not come to any conclusion because all these scriptures are actually written in such a way that they will confuse a person. That is what is described. That's the verse in Padma Puran which tells this. Amnaya bhyasana aranya ruditam veda vratanyantnaham meda cheda phalani. So this verse says, Amnaya, all the Vedic scriptures. Amnaya bhyasana, abhyasa. If you do abhyas of all these Vedas, you know what is this? Aranya ruditam. It is like crying in wilderness. Nobody will hear what you are saying. And you will not come out of that forest of Vedic literature. You will not understand who is God. And sometimes even scriptures, they tell something in a indirect way to confuse people. So what is the use of using your logic and argument? You will not come to any understanding unless you take shelter of Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Therefore, Prabhupada writes, those people who have poor fund of knowledge, they cannot understand. They can never understand the Supreme. Because our senses are imperfect. We have imperfect senses. We keep doing mistakes. We tend to cheat others. We tend to get illusioned. With all this, how can somebody come to right understanding and conclusion? Because Mahabharata itself says, Achantya khaluye bhava natam starkena yojayet. Achintya. Nobody can understand the tattva of the Supreme Lord by logic. Achintya. It is inconceivable. And you know what is the danger of such type of logic and argument? What will happen? You will commit offenses. And in the next birth, you will become a jackal. Prabhupada writes in the purport. A foolish speculator who uses his arguments and logic, he does not go anywhere. He becomes a jackal. And therefore, Prabhupada writes that if all these logicians and all these people who are argumenting, if they want to use their logic and argument, they should use that to compare all the results of humanitarian works performed by other people and merciful activity of Lord Chaitanya. Just compare them. You want to know who is more merciful? Just compare them. All these other philanthropists, what are they doing? They are just taking care of this body, which is anyways going to be destroyed. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is doing the supreme philanthropic activity by bringing everyone to a level of soul where they can develop their connection with the Supreme Lord. There is nothing equal to this philanthropic work, because people of this world, they are taking care of the body. They are working so very hard to maintain the body and taking care of the body and their relatives. They're just mad. So Prabhupada writes, their intelligence is not very advanced. They're just taking care of temporary thing and neglecting the most important thing. Penny wise, pounds foolish, as they say. That is what these people are doing. Nunam pramatta kurute vikarma yadindriya pritaya pranoti na sadhu manye sadatmanoyam asannapi kleshad asadeha. People in the world, they are mad. Certainly, prakrishta rupena mattaha, completely mad. Why? Or they are spending their time for body, which is anyways going to be destroyed, and they are neglecting soul. Just for sense gratification, they are neglecting this wonderful opportunity. Therefore, if you want to know who is the greatest humanitarian, greatest philanthropist, just see the philanthropy which Mahaprabhu is doing. That's why Prabhupada would tell, we are doing the best welfare activity. That does not mean Prabhupada didn't do anything for maintaining the body. We all know when Prabhupada was in Mayapur, after a big, wonderful festival, Prabhupada was on the terrace of the conch building, and he saw that devotees had thrown some leftover prasad in garbage, and some small children from nearby villages, they came and they were picking up that and they were eating that. Prabhupada felt so compassionate. He started crying. He said, nobody should go hungry within 10,000 miles area of this campus. That is a compassion. And that is not just food, that is prasad, which will nourish the body and nourish the soul also. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Daya Karoh Vichar Vichar Karile Chitte Pave Chamatkar. Otherwise, if you don't have faith in mercy of Lord Krishna, on Lord Chaitanya, Bahujanma kore yadi Shravana Kirtan tabu to na paye Krishna pade prema dhan. If somebody is faithless and he offends the devotees and he offends the holy name, Bahujanma kare yadi Shravana Kirtan, even if you chant for many, many lifetimes, you will not develop love. Tabu to na paye Krishna pade prema dhan. So therefore, Prabhupada writes, one must follow strictly the instructions of Lord Chaitanya. If you want to chant properly, we should have this mantra. Make this mantra as a necklace around and put it around your neck. Which mantra? Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. That is what we have to do. That is the consciousness, that is the mentality which is needed to chant properly without offenses. Because holy name is not different than Krishna. Nam Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddha Nityamukta Abhinnatvat Nama Namino. It is not different. There is no difference. And as soon as we understand and accept ourselves as servant of Krishna, servant of Lord Chaitanya, then we will accept servitorship of holy name also. We have to become the humble servants of the holy name. That is what we have to think when we are beginning our chanting every day in the morning. Oh Harinam Prabhu, allow me to serve you properly. That is the mood in which we have to chant. We need to chant. We want to chant. That is how we should do. We are serving. This is a service. When we are chanting, we are serving the holy name. So how attentive one should be, how careful one should be while chanting. And that's what Prabhupada writes, that service begins with tongue. Sevon mukhehi jihva adau. So tongue has two functions, speaking and eating, tasting. Just speak Krishna Katha and eat Krishna Prasad. Speak, chant the holy names and taste Krishna Prasad. And if you don't have faith, then you will not get delivered. Jnanata sulabha mukti bhakti yagyadi punyatah seyam sadhana sahasrai hari bhakti sudurlabha. Now he quotes another verse. It tells it is very easy to attain liberation. Jnanata, if you follow all the Jnana, Sankhya, and all the various limbs of Jnana Yoga, it is easy to attain liberation. And if you do some Yagya and Puja and Tantra, Mantra, Tapasya, it is easy to get sense gratification also. But if we are not careful, if you are not rendering devotional service properly, it is very, very difficult to obtain. Sudurlabha, Hari Bhakti, Sudurlabha. That is one of the quality mentioned in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. One of the quality is Sudurlabha. Bhakti has 6 qualities, prominent secondary qualities. Kleshagni, Shubhada, Sudurlabha, Sandrananda Visheshatma, Moksha Laghutakrit, and Sri Krishna Akarshini. Kleshagni, it destroys miseries, material suffering. Shubhada, it brings auspiciousness. Sudurlabha, it is very rare. Moksha Laghutakrit, it derides even the happiness of liberation. Sandrananda Visheshatma, the bliss which one experiences is unlimited. And it attracts even Krishna, Sri Krishna Akarshini. Why Bhakti is Sudurlabha? Because of 2 reasons. First is because Krishna doesn't give it so easily. Krishna will give everything. He will not give Bhakti. Because he becomes bound by devotees' love. He becomes dependent on devotees' love. Aham bhakta paradhino nahi asvatantraiva dvijaha sadhubhi grastharidayam bhaktair bhakta jana priyaha. That's why he doesn't give Bhakti so easily. Another reason, which is in our hand. Krishna doesn't give Bhakti because we don't endeavor for it enough. Shanvata Shraddhaya Nityam Grinatascha Swacheshtitam Kalena Na Atidirghena Bhagavan Vishateridi. Grinata Shanvata Shraddhaya Nityam Grinatascha Swacheshtitam. If somebody is not endeavoring to the fullest, Swacheshtitam, if somebody is not endeavoring properly to hear, to chant, to remember, to apply, he will not get pure love of God. Prabhupada writes in the purport, if somebody is depending on his own strength and is not taking shelter of the devotees of the Lord, he will not achieve perfection. Matirna Krishne Parata Svatova Mito Vipadyeta Grihavritanam. If you are not taking shelter of devotees, you cannot attain perfection by your own strength or by the strength of others or by combined strength of everyone. Unless you bathe yourself with the dust of the devotees, there is no hope. Mahiyasam Padarajobhishekam. If somebody is not taking dust of the devotees, they can never achieve devotional service. And then he says, Krishna yadi chute bhakte bhukti mukti diya, Kabhu Krishna prema na den rakhe na lukaya. Krishna never gives bhakti so easily. He keeps it hidden. If devotee wants sense gratification, he'll give. Okay, take it. You want bhukti? Take. You want mukti? Take. Bhakti I will not give so easily. I will test you, Krishna says. Unless you are thoroughly tested, I will not give bhakti. Rajan patir gururalam bhavatam yadunam daivam priya kulpati kvacha karova astveva mang bhagavan bhajata mukundo muktim dadati karichit spanam bhakti yogam. So he's quoting this verse which comes in 5th canto, where Shukdev Goswami, after describing the story and pastimes of Rishabhadev, he sees that Parikshit, he feels really sad. He says, for Nabhi, Lord appeared as Rishabhadev. For Dasharath, Lord appeared as Lord Ram. For Yadus, Lord appeared in their dynasty. Now we are so unfortunate. Just to encourage and pacify Yudhishthir, Shukdev encourage and pacify Parikshit Maharaj. Shukdev Goswami says, "O Rajan, O King Parikshit, you know Krishna, who is a supreme Lord, even great rishis, they are endeavoring for lifetimes after lifetimes to see the tip of their toe, of Krishna. They are not successful. And that same personality is there with all your family members. He was there with your grandfathers. He was their master. He was their Daiva, worshipable deity, Kulpati. He was their servant. He was their messenger. He was their guard. He was their chariot driver. Everything. Why? Because your ancestors, your grandfathers, they were very, very dear devotees. So Krishna, he gives himself completely to his devotees. Mukti dadati karichit svana bhakti yogam. He will give mukti also. He will not give himself. He will not give bhakti so easily. That's what Narad Muni tells to Yudhishthir also. You are most fortunate. Same thing happens with Yudhishthir also. After hearing the whole pastime of Lord Narsimhadev and Prahlad, just Narsimha Chaturdashi went by. So Narad Muni was telling about Prahlad Maharaj and Narsimhadev to Yudhishthir, and then after hearing all that, Yudhishthir is thinking, just see, one incarnation or one devotee, and I am so unfortunate. So Narad Muni tells, what unfortunate? Are you are the most fortunate. Yuyam niloke batabhuri bhaga lokam punana munayo bhiyanti yesham grihana vasatiti sakshat gudam param brahma manushya lingam. O king, you are the most fortunate. Batabhuri bhaga, you know, the great sages who are endeavoring for many, many lifetimes, they are not even able to see the tip of the toe, and that supreme personality is residing in your house. Gudam Param Brahma Manushya Lingam is residing as a ordinary person in your house. You're so fortunate because Snigdheshu Pandushu. Their Pandavas were malleable to the will of the Lord. They are pure devotees. So Krishna was doing everything for them. He became dependent on his devotees. He is purchased by his devotees. Therefore, he doesn't give himself so easily. So it is so very rare to get bhakti. And Mahaprabhu's mercy so much. He is distributing Yare Tare Koilo Dan. Sei Panch Tattva Mili Prithvi Asiya Purve Prema Bhandare Na Mudra Ughadiya Pache Mili Lute Prem Kare Aswadan Yate Yate Piye Krishna Bade Anukshan. They have come and they are distributing this without any discrimination. So who can be more merciful? Krishna does not give bhakti so easily. And Mahaprabhu is telling, take please, take bhakti. And we are saying, abhi time nahi, baad mein aayenge. So that is how Lord is so very merciful. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Daya Karah Vichar. Vichar Korile Chitte Pabe Chamatkar. So that is the beautiful nature of Mahaprabhu. Hena Prema Shri Chaitanya Dila Jatha Tatha Jagai Madhai Paryant Aner Ka Katha. Mahaprabhu gave that love to everyone, including Jagai Madhai. So who will not take advantage of this? Prabhupada writes, the distinction between the gifts which Mahaprabhu is giving to society and the gift given by other humanitarian works is that Mahaprabhu is not just concerned with the body, he is concerned with soul, which is eternal. And all the benefits are eternal. So therefore, that is the mercy of Mahaprabhu. Dinihine yatachilo harinama uddharilo tarasakshi jagai madhai. Mahaprabhu has delivered everyone. Anybody can take advantage of his mercy. Who will not take benefit? Namhi parth vipashritya yepi supyapayonaya striyo vaishya tatha shudra tepi anti paramgatim. Anybody can get delivered, and Mahaprabhu showed it by his personal example. Even Jagai Madhai was delivered. Kirat, Hunandra, Pulinda, Pulkasha, Abhir, Shumbha, Yavana, Kasadaya, Yanyecha Papa, Yadapa, Shraya, Shraya, Shuddyanti, Tasmai, Prabhu Vishnave Nama. All the lower castes who are sinful by nature, anybody who takes shelter of Krishna or Mahaprabhu, they get delivered. All the contaminations which are there in the heart gets purified. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu. Just by hearing the pastimes of the Lord. And when he's freed from such greed and lust, then he is qualified to become a Brahmana. But a Vaishnava is even higher than a Brahmana. That is how Mahaprabhu is making Vaishnavas. The person who had become Muslim, Rup Sanatan Goswami, Dabir Kha Sakar Malit, Mahaprabhu gave them the positions of Rasacharya and the greatest of the Goswamis. So Prabhupada writes about spiritual communism in the purport. He says, what is communism? Communism means, everything is in the hand of society. But you know what happens in the end? In the communism, nobody gets benefited. But if you want to really establish this communism, everything should belong to Krishna. That is the real idea of communist society. That is real communism. State, in the communism of this world, state is a proprietor of everything. In spiritual communism, Krishna is a proprietor of everything. So therefore, if you want to experience the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please accept the mercy which Mahaprabhu is giving. Swatantra Ishvara Prema Niguda Bhandar Balaila Yare Tare Na Koila Bichar. He is an independent Lord. If a billionaire thinks, okay, today I want to give 1 lakh to every person, who can stop him? So that's how Mahaprabhu is. Swatantra Ishvara Prabhu Nigud Bhandar. His treasury is unlimited. He is fully independent. And he is not thinking who is qualified. Bilaila Yare Tare, he is given to everyone. Prabhupada writes, that is the benefit of Lord Chaitanya's movement. And if somehow or other, if somebody comes in touch with Krishna consciousness, he'll be delivered. And he'll develop love of God. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Shri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki jai.